Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ruckus and The Menace podcast, episode number 26. I am Ruckus.
And I'm Ruckus the Menace.
And this episode, we're gonna do a lot of in-betweens, but we're still gonna talk about football, baseball, and what have you. But, Spennis, how have you been?
Yeah, really nothing major's been going on here. Just kind of been really not doing overly a lot. Really not been doing overly a lot. Just work, video games, podcast, sleep, eat. Just whatever kind of fits.
Yeah. Um, to be honest with you, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like my life is on fast forward because I've been busy with work, but also like when I get home, I'm just like, okay, let's see, I have like at least 4 or 5 hours of just chill time and to do whatever, and then after that 5 hours, I'm just like, okay, I'll probably go to bed here soon, and then, but yeah. As far as me, I've just been watching YouTube and playing Guardians of the Galaxy and a little bit of Battlefield. I started back into like single player games recently because I was just like, it's nice to like play a single player game and not just play multiplayer games all the time. Like it's a nice relaxing thing, but also like most of the time when I play single player games, I play it before I decide to go to bed, so it's like nice and just chill. And then later on, you're just like, I'll just go to bed after this, and then I don't know if it's really like it gives me better dreams than what I normally have. I don't think that factors in on that, but I think just in general, it's just a good relaxant to do that. But yeah, as far as YouTube and whatnot, it's just tech YouTubers and like highlights for like baseball and football and other newsly things that happen in my sphere. But other than that, not a whole lot. But anyways,
Yeah, I know that I'm gonna have a lot of TV shows coming out. I just started Mighty Ducks Game Changers again, or at least the second season of that. Um, Still watching She-Hulk, still watching Andor. My fiance and I are going to start the new season of Hell's Kitchen at some point. Get me some Gordon Ramsay going. And then on top of that, I will have All American coming out later on, in a few more days. Then I've got Big Shot with Stamos. So I've got a lot of stuff coming out. Got just a lot of stuff coming out, and very little of it is video games.
that's so show.
Yep. And well, we kind of did something a little different with our starting lineup this week. Our starting lineup has been kind of where our high heat has been the last few for the last couple of weeks, and it's the week 4 recap of the NFL season. So Ruckus, for week 4, who would you consider the most impressive team?
Like I say every week, this might be biased because I'm a Chiefs fan, but my God, this showed what the Chiefs are capable of against a team that whipped their ass in the Super Bowl of 55. Not 1955, but Super Bowl 55. The way I worded that kind of sounded like I was like, oh, back in
Yeah.
55. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, but 55, but 1955, there was never a Super Bowl.
That is correct. But yeah, anyways, my most impressive team is the Kansas City Chiefs because of the way they just started in the gate and dominated near the end and just showed up to play. Mahomes did not want any more BS coming his way. And that's where I'm going to end it there.
I'm gonna say for mine, we initially wrote them off, but they never wrote back. I'm take My most impressive team this week was the former Mountaineer Geno Smith led Seattle Seahawks this week, as I didn't know an offense like that could score like that.
I mean, wasn't it evident in week 1 though against Russell Wilson?
No, no, because Broncos country at that point was so dead inside that 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 Russell Wilson wasn't really going let's ride. It's more like let's hide.
Are you embracing the let's ride now?
Um, embracing it, no. Trying to spoof it for a certain reason, yes.
Because every time I say it, you're just like, bruh, like, stop. It's time to stop.
Yeah, it 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 has to become some sort of running gag at this point because the most
Let's
disappointing
ride!
team yet again, I'm gonna throw it out there. It was the Denver Broncos this week. Because come on, you have the most exploitable defensive matchup that you've had all year. Does Russell Wilson have a good game? Yes. But does anything else around it have a solid game? Absolutely not. And you lose to the winless Raiders.
Also, John Elway isn't even the GM anymore, so that tells you another bad thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's it it has become more of a catastrophe in Denver, and I would not be surprised that with all the issues that Hackett's going to have or that Hackett has, that we see a firing from him at some point along the way,
He's gonna get.
or a firing by him.
He's gonna
Yeah.
hack it at the Colts, hopefully. No pun
Or
intended.
no, he's just showing that as a head. I'll even mention this later too. As a head coach, he just can't hack it.
Okay.
What like were you getting where I was going with that?
Yes, yes, I was.
Yeah, I know it was a bad pun. I know it was a pun, but at the same time, the wordplay was just too good to pass up.
Also, I made a really horrible bet, as in a terrible joke. Not terrible, but terrible.
Yeah, but other than us kind of now making fun of the Broncos, your most impressive player this week.
My impressive player would have to be Isaiah Pacheco, as in the man not only runs, but he will also do whatever he can in his willpower, in his wheelhouse, to frickin' try to get that first down, dog. Like, straight up. Looked like a lot of people are, my coworker the other day or today was saying he looked like Marshawn Lynch out there, but I was like, honestly, he doesn't look like a guy that doesn't want to get fined. He looks like a guy that will just not worry about that and just go for the first down. Like, this man, to me, just reminds me of Ron Gronkowski when it comes to like shedding off tackles, trying to get the extra yardage even where it didn't seem like it was possible. Like, the man is a freaking beast, and a 7th round running back from the Rutgers. Whew, he's a force to be reckoned with, kind of like how Jody Fortson is. But both of these men have not really gotten the red carpet thrown to them just yet, but it'll take time.
Yeah, and I, on the other hand, am going with a Raider for the impressive player this week and just kind of his style of game. Josh Jacobs. I mean, not the highest total that you saw all year with 144 yards, but 2 touchdowns, which is critical enough. I mean, critical enough in terms of including the go ahead, including like the game sealer touchdown with a 7 yard run to make it a 9 point game to put it into 2 possession range. So for me, Josh Jacobs. What was your good, bad, and ugly this week?
Wah, wah. I can't do the whistle because it won't pick up on my mic, but I'm just gonna do the wah wah wah. All right. So my good was the Chiefs special teams because that beginning kickoff for the Bucks was bad, but okay. I did not see us getting the fumble reception to literally go for three play drive the next like minute or so, and really it was 20 seconds, but in real time it was like about a minute between all the moving and stuff where the Chiefs just went for the first score. My
You just weren't
bad,
expecting it to happen that quickly.
yeah, like knowing the Chiefs, I was like, okay, like this never really happens. Last time that happened was, I mean, it wasn't a kickoff like at the start, but it was still like a kickoff, and it was the divisional game for the Chiefs in 2019 against the Texans. But yeah, like it was kind of unheard of. For my bad, I have the Ravens going for a touchdown instead of a field goal when facing the Buffalo Bills because they knew probably that the Bills were gonna score, but the fact is you would still gain points doing a field goal rather than a touchdown anyways. And with the confidence that Lamar Jackson has with throwing wasn't it's not as good as the in like the sense of what he does when he has the ball in his hands and he's running around juking and being the little ninja he is. Just using his, I mean, he can't really throw the ninja stars, but man, he can definitely maneuver around defensive ends and linebackers and stuff like that. And then the ugly is the current situation with Patriots quarterbacks. Wah 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 wah. Yeah, I know I voice cracked. Whatever.
Yeah. For me, the good that came out of this week is really, after it's all said and done, that there's still a very intense amount of parity of records in this league. There is only one undefeated team and one winless team after 4 weeks, which kind of shows that there's a little more parity in terms of like how teams are playing. The bad I'm gonna give Will Lutz just simply being a victim of like some bad luck. I mean, he made the 60-yarder to tie it, but he just missed the 61-yarder by very, very little as the field goal ended on a double doink.
Was there a whammy involved? Because you know double whammy.
Mm,
Like, did they show it on the screen? It was just doing its little animation and then it just explodes.
no, I mean, Will Luck's probably sitting there, big bucks, no whammies, no whammies, because I knew exactly where you were going with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I watched Pressure Luck back in the day. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
but the ugly for me, I am absolutely not going to skirt this, as this is a major it, it is a full scale mess. And it is the situation at the full scale involving Tua Tagovailoa. In that
Yeah.
is that in a real honest opinion, he should have never came back in the Miami Dolphins Buffalo Bills matchup that Miami eventually ended up winning the game. The the independent neuro doctor that they brought in fired by the NFL. Tua is still under concussion protocol right now. The replays after the hard hit on Thursday that pretty much put Tua in like such a bad neurological position
You mean curled up
that
like a spider, like a dying spider?
yeah, Yeah, I think there's some sort of posturing that they said it was that was
It was
ended up as a
so
result of it.
bad. Like, if your fingers are looking like they're bending back like that, that is unnatural and just
Yeah,
not good for you.
there was something neurologically wrong with Tua Tagovailoa before even that happened. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's just it's very shitty the way that whole situation like was just happened.
and we
And
will see more updates with concussion protocol and everything else involved with this. And this will shape that side of it as we know it.
it also reminds me of the movie Concussion with Will Smith. Like, man,
Yeah.
I watched that movie and that was just a very depressing movie because it showed you like the aspects of CTE, but also like concussions as a whole, how it affects players after they
Oh yeah.
get out, and it's
I think
very
even
spooky.
that
Like,
doctor, even that doctor who is still living and breathing to this day, says that Tua should just flat out hang it up.
yeah, like
That
I don't
that
blame
Tua
him
should hang it up.
because here's the thing: you don't want to be the person that says, "Hey, you're cleared to play," when it's literally a man's life on the line. You don't want the Samoan brother to go ape shit on someone if there was really a thing that was going to happen due to just the damage he suffered from his concussion. Like, there's no going back from that if he gets hit again. You don't know what's
And
actually going to happen.
Tua's only 24. He's got a huge future ahead of him. They don't want him to risk it. They don't. They say he should not risk it any further because of all the severity of these concussions.
Right. And like there was a Chargers player that was I believe also of Samoan descent that not long ago, I mean this was like the around the time I was like in 5th or 6th grade. I heard about this on Sports Center where this Samoan man was just hanging with his family, and then he decided to like murder them, I believe. I don't remember who it was, but I just remember they
It
were.
would have been. I know there was the issue with Junior Seau.
That's what I'm thinking of. Junior Seau.
I don't think Seau was Samoan though.
Well, I don't know. Maybe in my thoughts, he probably. I don't know. Either way, I don't want that shit happening to Tua. I don't want him to think in his brain chemically that he's going to become a monster, or think that he is having problems and get having mental problems later. I don't I don't mess with mental issues, like as far as like joking a whole lot about it or at all, as far as that kind of side of things, but hey, you don't mess with that kind of stuff.
Actually, you were right. Seau was Samoan. So that does.
Honestly, I it's fine, but the point is Seau did some stuff, but also Tua shouldn't have to go through that kind of thing in his life when he's so young, but also I don't want him to turn. I don't want to see him on
Yeah.
the news later, like on SportsCenter or something, saying that he died based off of whatever he decided to do. Because there's been other players besides him with other descents and from other places and have done a lot of bad stuff too.
Right, I completely get it.
And
I
the
mean,
NFL needs to figure their shit out. Like, they need to actually be smart about this and not role play it like they did in Concussion, which was a movie, not real life, but still, like, they need to play it out. Like, get it together.
yeah. Okay. So with that all said, what was the best game for you this week?
I'm gonna go with the Raiders and Broncos
And I'm
because,
shocked you picked that too, because that one was one of the uglier ones that I saw.
I mean, here's the thing: it's a rivalry. It's a whole lot of things, but when it came down to it, it was a very close game, and that's what I view as like a best game. Because like obviously I could have picked the Chiefs and Buccaneers, but here's the thing: near the end of the game, you don't want to like just really see a team just obliterate another team and be like, okay, game's over, because that's not good for like viewership as a whole. For like if you want viewers to watch the whole game, but if you have a team, if you have a game where it's neck and neck, most likely the diehard fans or just fans in general that are watching it at the bar or wherever they're at will see it and be like, okay. And then the viewership for the NFL is better because of it too. So that's why I kind of like do the devil's advocate, but also kind of compare and contrast. But yeah. Anyways, Spennis, what was your best game?
Like, and the reason why I said I'm shocked you picked that one, other than for the fact of division rivalry. I mean, you had the one that I picked as my honorable mention, Vikings Saints. You still had Browns Falcons, Seahawks Lions, Jaguars Eagles that you could have picked. You could have went Patriots Packers, which was an overtime game. But for me, the number one was probably also the same one that you probably would have picked too. Bills Ravens.
That's for sure.
And then my worst game this week, granted that this was a 10-point game, I went Cardinals Panthers because that game, for it to be a 4 o'clock primetime slot, granted that Fox's primetime commentary team did not go to that game, it was a very game. Like, bad. As Arizona, basically, after Carolina was up 10-3, they went and scored 23 straight. And the game was put out of reach. And just Baker Mayfield looks horrible in Carolina. Which
Yeah.
one are you?
Go ahead.
I was like, and which one was your pick, Ruckus?
For the worst game, I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys Commanders, because the Cowboys, even without Dak, they looked more superior than the Washington Commanders. And also, Scary Terry on my fantasy did not do very well. But that was because of the fact that the Commanders just looked lost that game.
Hmm. Well, you've already seen kind of my take on all of that. But what's kind of your bold take this week?
Alright, so if you live under a rock, or you don't watch the news or whatever, or not really involved with sports, the goat. Not the goat that eats your shoes in your house or whatever. I don't know why you would own a goat, but regardless, this goat is Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is currently in some hot water, not only with his wife that may or may not leave him. Personally, my bold take is I think this man should just retire, take permanent leave to his lazy boy, and just don't look back. Personally, you have all the money in the world, and somehow you're about to lose your wife that you've had since 2009, which is a very long time, obviously. But like, come on, man. Like, I would honestly hang it up. You're getting really old. Last year you had probably a wake up call, but yeah, it's gonna suck to like miss football and whatnot. But man, hang it up. You've you proved it. Don't pull a Brett Favre though, please, for the love of God.
Yeah. But here's where my bold take is. There is some piece that is not working correctly in the offenses of the Colts, the Broncos, and the Commanders, but not all three of them have the same problem. For the Colts, granted that it was an injury to Jonathan Taylor, as he'll be out this week, but Jonathan Taylor, after week 1, has just kind of had the wheels fall off. And Matt Ryan has not been the effective quarterback that the Colts needed to get them to really kind of make their decision to trade Carson Wentz worthwhile.
They winced at the opportunity.
I knew where you were going with that. And who knows, maybe even the time for Carson Wentz as a member of the Commanders has came and went.
Dun
But
dun dun.
but I think it may still be too early on that. But the issues with the Commanders are more the offensive line. I mean, Jahan Dotson being injured at this point is also not good. And also some of those injuries along the offensive line. But just there's so much that could possibly have gone wrong for the Commanders
Yeah.
that the offense just is not working correctly as it should. And then for the Broncos, just I think it's receivers not being able to hang on to the ball. However, a major injury to Javonte Williams involving 2 of his ligaments in his knee, in one of his knees being torn to kind of knock him out for the season, does not help the Broncos.
Yeah, that's for sure, because he was like their silent weapon last year that no one really knew about until later on in the season, obviously, but like, goddamn, like, that's a big blow.
Yep. But now that we've kind of gotten through the teams going through actual games, let's kind of get into our simulated games. I know that we'll kind of get out of the training grounds because mostly we've been doing kind of the same thing. But let's kind of go on to our fantasy football results this week. How'd you do this week, Ruckus?
Just barely skid by my opponent. Uh,
Oh, I don't even know if you want to say that because you won by a lot more than what I did.
yeah, but we both kind of got close. But you were in a different scenario than what I was in. But still, like, I took down the one of the undefeated teams in my league and went even at 2-2 this week. And it was an all-around effort from the receivers and running backs, plus my quarterback Josh Allen. But Kelsey I was lucky with Kelsey because the man just has been kind of sharing, just straight up receptions or with the other players, and it's been different this season, very different. But man, hats off to you, cause yours like
Yes,
that'd
it
be an
was a
anxiety filled.
complete roller coaster all weekend. It starts with Thursday. Joe Shiesty throws a tutty pass to T. Higgins,
Did
of
you say
which,
Joe Shiesty?
yes, he did. Yes, I did.
What's the lore behind that?
Oh, just simply it's one of the nicknames people were giving him.
I thought it was just Joe Cool.
In that case, it would have been Joe Burr at that point. Not no Joe Cool would have been Montana.
I know,
No,
but I remember whenever they had the Super Bowl ads, they're like, "Oh, your name is Joe Cool," and I was just like, "Whatever." Like, overrated. Clap, 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 clap. Anyways,
no, but he throws a touchdown pass to T. Higgins. I end up down after Thursday, and all I had was Jason Sanders going, the kicker from Miami. I was down 43-10 heading into Sunday. I get great performances from Derrick Henry, Russell Wilson, cover up well with my defense. Some inconsistent scoring from receivers, a stinker from Andrews, but I end up down or up like a decent amount heading into Sunday night. Suck Up has a decent game. I had to avoid my opponent scoring a grand total of 14 points. I had to avoid 14 points from Cooper Cup on Monday night. And I won by a single point. I was 18 yards away from losing. I have won my previous two games with my 2-2 record. My last the two games I've won, I have won by a combined total of 3 points.
All right. Can I interrupt something really quick?
What's up?
All right. So this is breaking news to me as of 6 minutes ago off of the Kansas City Royals Facebook page. The Kansas City Royals executive and vice president and general manager JJ Piccolo announced that manager Mike Matheny and pitching coach Cal Eldred will not return for the 2023 season.
Okay. I mean, granted that we were going to be dealing with a whole bunch of that due to this being the very end of the season. But that was just, is it bad to say that that was almost like expected?
In my opinion, I thought that Matheny might have stayed and then Eldred would have gone, but it makes sense that both parties were working together, and it would have just been dumb to just let only one of them go and just be like and play favorites.
Right.
But yeah, like I kind of expected it, but at the same time, I just didn't know how much it would change. So that's, as a Royals fan, I was like, okay, like that was kind of expected, but at the same time, like that's breaking news either way.
Yeah, and on that note of breaking news that was involved about baseball, weird sports shift, I know. We now go into the MLB playoff preview. So, the ultimate question here becomes, who's in? Who has made it? In the American League, the number 1 seed goes to the Houston Astros, the 2 seed to the New York Yankees, the 3 to the Cleveland Guardians, the 4th to the Toronto Blue Jays, or was it the Seattle Mariners? One of the two,
Blue
but
Jays.
the Blue Jays got the 4th, the Mariners the 5th, and the Rays the 6th. And then for the National League, the number 1 seed went to the Dodgers. The number 2 seed was won by the Braves.
Correct.
The 3 seed to the Cardinals. The 4 seed to the Mets. The 5 seed to the Padres. And the 6 seed to the Phillies. And we've got a few fun series that are best of threes, the wild card, before heading into a best of 5 divisional and the championship series and World Series being best of 7. This is the first year that this alignment has come in, and the top 2 seeds getting buys. So, Ruckus, who do you think prior entering the postseason were some of your favorite or some of the favorites, like some of the ones that you think were definitely like you felt like this team was a World Series, like a World Series maker.
My favorites definitely are the Blue Jays, Yankees, Braves, and the Cardinals. Uh, Especially like I really want the Blue Jays to win. It's been a while, and I like the talent they have on there. And yes, what Merrifield is a Blue Jay, but who cares? But still, I want the I would rather have the Blue Jays win than the Yankees. The Yankees have too much money and too much flair. Screw them.
The
What?
point where if I were to say the odds-on favorites, like the ones that clearly like you're not going to be making a lot of money off of them going through are the Dodgers and the Astros. The two teams with the two best records in their respective leagues. And pretty much the favorites really are just kind of the ones that I'm just like if the whole series goes chalk, this World Series may not be watchable. Who are some teams that kind of could kind of slip under the radar and maybe
Uh,
make a deep run?
so for me, I picked the Mariners because they have been kind of sleepers just in general with how they've done things, and they remind me a lot of what the Royals became in 2014 during the postseason. And then the Padres, I feel like they're going to be sleepers too, even though they have the star power. Like, they haven't shown a whole lot of it when it comes to just what they do. It's just been kind of hovering around and doing some stuff, but not a whole lot. What about you,
For
Spinnis?
for me, I'm gonna say the league three seeds, the Guardians and the Cardinals, both as the three seeds. I think really are some of the teams that could probably get the most shape out of how they play, and they're the teams that are right now probably I think with the most reason to win. Cleveland because they've never won one. The Cardinals because they're a team of destiny with Pujols, Yachty, and Wayno. And you have the Guardians as a complete underdog. Well, I also had the Phillies along with you, but I also had the Rays as a complete underdog. Like the odds may not be in their favor, especially because they're six seeds, but but all 12 of these teams are good and good for a reason.
I kind of feel like the Rays have played the underdog for a long time, though, so I kind of just see them as like an okay, are you really going to step up, or are you just going to kind of be the eye candy that you once were before that as an underdog?
So here's the question. In these best of 3 series, starting with Tampa Bay, Cleveland, who wins and how many out of either 2 or 3 games do you think the winner takes it?
The Tampa Bay versus the Guardians?
Tampa Bay versus Cleveland.
I'm going to say Tampa Bay sweeps Cleveland.
I have Cleveland in 3. And I've got Cleveland in 3.
Yeah.
The Phillies and the Cardinals.
I feel like that one's going to be a close one all around. I feel that's probably going to go to like 4 games, or would it just be
No, these are best of 3.
so it would just be like up to game 5, right?
There's no game 5. There's no game 5 in a best of 3.
My bad, my bad. Uh, I think it'll be close, but
I'm
ultimately,
I'm taking the Cardinals in 3.
um,
It's gonna take all three.
I'm gonna take the Phillies in 3.
Mariners, Blue Jays.
Take Blue Jays in 3.
I think the Jays are gonna sweep this. I think the Jays are gonna sweep it. And then the Padres and the Mets.
Mets are gonna sweep them.
It all depends on which bats for San Diego show up. And I think the Mets are on a downswing. I think the Padres are going to take it in 3 in a real, if the trend holds. If the trend holds, the Padres will take it in 3. Otherwise, the Mets will take it in 3. So I'm going to say Padres in 3. But these will not count in our film room. I'm just going to move the film room up. These playoff predictions will not count in our film room, which we'll go through the film room picks now. Last week, Ruckus and I had great weeks, which we really didn't have a ton of separation. As the only game we picked differently, the Menace took it with taking Clemson over North Carolina State. But Ruckus goes back to 500.
Yay! Hindsight is 2020 for total record.
All right. So, but the real question here is, with the few games we have, number 8 Tennessee versus number 25 LSU.
Um, I don't know a whole lot about either team, but I feel like it's gonna be a Louisiana State that takes it against Tennessee.
I mean, granted that they are playing this game in in Baton Rouge, but I am actually going to take the Volunteers. And then TCU and Kansas, I see
I'm,
that you have gone
I'm
with
going with I'm going with the Jayhawks, even though historically the Jayhawks are not a football college. They are they have always been a basketball college. They've been pretty hot lately, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take down TCU at this point.
okay, Packers Giants. Both teams are
I
3 and
put the
1.
Packers because discount double check Aaron Rodgers will double check the Giants for sure.
Yeah, I am going with the Packers. Chargers Browns.
I'm going with the Chargers because the Chargers have Justin Herbert and the Chargers have a good defense. Whereas the Browns is kind of like, it's there, and their offense is kind of, So, like, I would have to say Chargers.
Okay, Dolphins and Jets.
The Dolphins.
Even with Teddy Bridgewater.
The man's got an arm, and he ain't afraid to show it. And he's got Tyreek Hill. So, that and Mr. Waddle. But, come on. They're a lot better than what they used to be with those two.
And it's like with with those weapons, who loses?
I mean,
The
the Jets
Cowboys
do.
and Rams.
I'm gonna go Rams because the Rams at home have done all right, but I think they bounce back against the Cowboys when it comes to uh, them figuring out their chemistry with the new receivers, and they're at home against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys just I don't know if they do very well on the road historically, and I think the Rams can do it.
I think the offensive woes of I think the offensive line woes of the Rams could catch up to them. but I think the Rams will hang on and do something with it. And the Eagles and Cardinals and the Bengals and Ravens, we both also pick the Eagles to go 5-0 and the Bengals to go and take a victory over the Ravens. But now we go into color commentary, which I moved this because we were already picking things. But now we can kind of start some debate. And this week, the category of everything is stonks. For these teams, are we buying or are we selling the stock after 4 games? The first one that comes to mind is the Denver Broncos. Are
I'm
you
buying.
you're buying?
They're slow up and coming, and they have a defense that can swallow up any quarterback or any offensive line. They still have it. It's just the problem is their offense is still trying to figure itself out, and the head coach is a dingus that doesn't know what time is. But hey, you got to go with what you have. But at the same time, the Broncos, I feel like they'll figure it out. It's still early.
I think for me, the Broncos, even though it's still early, I think for those that probably I say probably more so the push option of holding was not given as an option. So I would say probably I would sell, but I would probably wouldn't sell high on the Broncos because I just think that offense is there's something not quite right with that offense. The Tennessee Titans.
I'm gonna have to sell on that one. They're falling apart.
Au contraire, Ruckus. Au contraire. The Titans have won their last 2.
Maybe that will
The ti
be their last two, though.
I I gotta disagree because for the next few games and even into a bye week, at least for the next 3 games, the schedule for the Titans softens up. And it softens up a little more after playing the Chiefs to an extent. Is it going to be a little difficult? Yeah. But I think there's some things that definitely soften it up. The first one is that the Titans have the Commanders this week. Then they have a bye week and 2 weeks to prepare to go against the Colts again. Then they play Houston. Then they square off against the Chiefs in a litmus test. And then you get the Broncos, Packers, and Bengals. I think at this moment, I think you buy into Tennessee as they'll go to 5-2 before Kansas City. They'll be at 5-2 heading into the game at Kansas City. The Chargers.
I think they still have room to improve, and I would buy it because they barely lost to the Chiefs, which is they've been trying to battle for the longest time. But let's be honest here, like their defense took a toll with Joey Bosa, but they still seem to have some resemblance and some will to live when it comes to their defense and their offense. Their offense kind of murdered us in the Thursday night game a couple weeks ago, but somehow we still got it. But either way, I'm gonna buy in with the Chargers.
I I think for the Chargers, I probably am selling. I think I'm going to be selling at this point because you're going to be without Joey Bosa for some time. you've still got you've still got a bunch of like a major injury to Herbert that he's playing through with his ribs,
You
and you
also
still have
have
Keenan Allen out. So I think though the real answer for this is hold. I wouldn't be surprised if some people with Charger stocks sell a little bit.
I would honestly just hold on that one. Probably
Yeah,
should have had an option for that, but for now we're just gonna play by the rules.
I would say if we're playing by the rules, sell. But I think in a real sense that the best move really for the Chargers is also hold. And I think also the Broncos may be at times a little bit of a hold too and be patient, but they're a slight sell. The Jets.
Honestly, I feel like this scheme is a pump and dump now when you explain the Jets because the Jets have historically just been bad. So I'm gonna sell, but it's not gonna be worth much.
Well, the Jets are 2-2. You get the Dolphins this week with Teddy Bridgewater as backup. You have the Packers next week, and then you have the Broncos, Patriots, and Bills. Two of your
Well,
three match
you have a
are the
quarterback that loves Cougars, so that's one thing. But you still have to have receivers and people that actually play for you. Brees Hall's only gonna get you so far.
um they they have they have guys. They
I
have
mean,
guys.
besides
They exist.
Uzama,
Um Braxton Berrios,
never
Elijah
heard of
Moore,
him. Oh, Elijah Moore, yes, but
Braxton Braxton Berrios, who was also there last year, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. They got
okay.
people. They got people.
My
And
point was just
solid.
well-known people is my
Yeah,
point.
yeah. I mean, they really are a no-name roster, but but they're doing. But I think the Jets are fine. I honestly would not consider buying under general circumstances, but I think for this type of thing, I think they're a soft buy, especially if they can play well against Green Bay and well stifle Green Bay, stifle Teddy Bridgewater, and they go into the Broncos matchup at 4-2. The Jets may be onto something if they do that.
So what you're telling me is the Jets are like the GameStop stock, and you just wait for it to grow exponentially, and then just screw over uh the people involved, right? And just
Most likely, the potential's there.
I like it. I just don't see it personally.
Yeah,
And
the
you could say the same
but
thing
the
about
potential is there. The
you could say the
potential is
same
there.
thing about Bitcoin, but we all know how that happened.
Yep.
Let's go with the Ravens now.
I think I think the Ravens are ultimately I think they're a very very soft buy, especially because Lamar Jackson is a freak of nature. That the only selling point that's there for the Ravens is either the defense having shaky moments and Lamar Jackson not necessarily being the best with certain specialty like certain situations, especially situations where it requires him to really be a passer.
Man needs to get out of his damn comfort zone. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say for the most part buy because I feel like he's probably in a more stable position to possibly get a playoff spot. I'm not saying he's going to guarantee one, but from years past, he's done pretty well, and the defense over there is still alright. I'm not saying it's the best, but they're doing okay for what it's worth. They haven't been out of games, and they've been pretty close. I would say bye.
I have bye with a touch of caution.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, let's speed these up here a little bit. The entire NFC West.
I
Which
feel
teams
dumb,
are
but is the NFC East or
no the
what team is the E
Rams,
or
Rams, Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals is where we're
okay.
at.
Thank you. I'm gonna hold, but really I'm gonna sell.
For which team?
The entire NFC West.
Okay, I think I think it's pretty much if you were to say hold, I would hold on the Rams.
Right. And I would
But
hold on the you
I
said
would
the
I'm buying into San Francisco.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking buy into San Francisco, but holding on
But
the Rams. Everything else like sell, like for the love of
yeah,
God.
yeah, sell Arizona, sell Seattle.
You overpaid Kyler.
Atlanta.
Sell.
Ooh, I do want to look at what Atlanta's next 3 to 4 games are
You
before I
also don't
really.
have a quarterback. Mariota mainly just runs the ball, from what
But I
I've
mean,
seen.
but at the same time, you've also got Cordarrelle Pat. Well, you had Cordarrelle Patterson.
Yeah, he's gone now, so good luck.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I think Atlanta right now, due to the injury to Cordarrelle Patterson, they are sell, sell, sell. Like that is a sell. That is a sell.
What about the Jags?
Ooh. The
Almost.
Jags had a little bit. The Jags had a little bit of a tough go at it, but this is the first time I've really said legitimately that they had a very very tough go at it. But
I feel like the only
I
strong suit they have is their defense and a little bit of offense. I feel like they're in the same boat right now as the Broncos when it comes to. I mean,
I think
regardless of how the defense
the
is
Jags
versus
are
the two.
the Jags are in better shape. I think the Jags are in better shape than what it looks like though. I, I'm buying. I'm buying on the Jaguars. I I bought in on the Jaguars about a week ago.
I'm gonna buy into them because here's the thing: you buy low and then you sell high.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, I'm gonna buy because let's be honest, the Jaguars are like slowly coming back, and it's just hard to tell at this point what's going to happen in the league. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm buying
and
the
here's what's
Jags.
before the Jaguars have to face the Chiefs. Here's what their next 5 games are: Texans, Colts, Giants, Broncos, Raiders. I smell 5 wins out of that, especially for how Jacksonville's been playing. So I would not be surprised if we see a 7-2 come out of this heading into the Chiefs matchup.
All right,
I
how about
mean,
them Raiders?
the Raiders. I think the Raiders I sell, but the Lions I probably am still going to be buying.
I'm buying the Lions, but the Raiders, sell now. You overpaid. Sorry, not sorry.
Yep. But with that color commentary, with the color commentary kind of wrapped up, we now can get into our prime time game, which again we decided this week on a trivia showdown, however with a theme. The theme this week is MLB postseason. And here are the categories we had to decide, or that we chose: playoff paths. Each team must guess a World Series winner based on the team's path to the winning the Commissioner's Trophy. The year will be given in the question. World Series MVPs by resume. I I just did mine. I will admit that I did mine by a world. I just did a World Series MVPs question, so a resume may not have applied. But the question I did was kind of simple enough, simple enough that you would get it. From wild
Yeah,
card to World Series, teams that the teams that had to win the playoff spot through the wild card spot or had to earn their way to the playoffs through the wild card spot and got to the World Series and in certain cases maybe even have won it. And then the last question we had was World Series champions. All right, Ruckus, you're up first. Which question are you wanting?
let's go with World Series MVPs by resume for 500.
Okay. Okay, so World Series MVPs. Here's the question I threw to you. 2001 was the first time the World Series MVP was given to more than one player since 1981 when the Dodgers had 3 players win the World Series MVP. But this question is not about the Dodgers MVPs. Name the MVPs of the 2001 World Series.
I feel like one of them was Randy Johnson
That's one of them.
because I
But
was trying to figure out the same thing and I was very confused by why there was two.
you gotta get both for this question to be right
Shit,
though.
and this was 2001, so this would have been the Diamondbacks and the Yankees, correct?
That would be the correct series.
Who is Luis Gonzalez?
Nope. You're gonna get a half. I'm gonna give you a half for it because Randy Johnson was right. The other one was Kurt Schilling.
God damn it. I should have known it was a pitcher, but hey, I got half a point.
But here's a little nugget. The 1981 World Series with the 3 players that won the MVP and then the double MVP that the 2001 series had, both of those series were played against the Yankees. Both of those series, the Yankees were the team that lost in the World Series.
All right. What?
I'm also going to take my World Series MVPs.
All right. Here's your question. This pitcher is a member of 4 All-Star Game appearances, 2 Silver Sluggers, and 16 complete games in his career.
And this is a World Series MVP?
Correct. He was a pitcher.
What year did he win his World Series MVP?
2014.
Oh, that's Madison Bumgarner.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, because
Um,
I figured that was going to be something a little. I was just like okay. I probably might have figured Mad Bum, but I'm like, year of the World Series. All right, so which one are you going?
how about playoff paths?
Playoff paths. This World Series champ had the playoff path of defeating the Yankees in the divisional series, the Twins in the championship series, and the Giants in the World Series in 2002.
Angels.
Yep, the Angels is correct. All right. Um, I'll do my playoff paths as well.
All right. This team won 1-4 against the Padres, won 7 games against the Mets in the ALCS, and then 1-5 against the Tigers.
Wait. something's not right with that. You said they you said they won against the Padres, and then the national, and then the CS they beat the Mets, and it was a
Wait.
and it was an American League team.
Oh, my bad. It was NLCS. My bad. I on my paper it had ALCS because I did something different. I switched it up.
And
Uh,
what year was this?
2006.
Oh, that's because you switched it. Which that year this team only won, I believe it was 83 games. That's the St. Louis You were going with the St. Louis Cardinals. The St. Louis Cardinals won that World Series.
Correct.
The MVP of that series was also David Eckstein.
All right.
So it is now.
Um,
This is a high scoring. This was actually a rather highly accurate one for us. I mean, it's currently now. It's 2 to 1.5.
let's do World Series champions.
Okay, this team that won the World Series 3 times in the 2010s was also the last team to sweep an opponent in the World Series.
Who are the San Francisco Giants?
Yep. I I figured I knew I was gonna throw I knew I was throwing a couple of softballs to you, but um World Series champs.
I feel like you're gonna hate me for this one. You'll know why. Which American League team won the World Series against Dusty Baker's led Giants in 2002? Again.
Because we both picked this team in a different context. It's the Angels.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it! Whenever you had that, I was like, oh, advantage me, disadvantage me. I was like, God damn
Okay.
it!
So the
But at
la-
the same,
so the last one. So the last one here, the wild card of the World Series. This team has won 2 commissioners trophies in its franchise history. In both instances, they had to be the wild card team to get to the series, and there was a 6-year gap between championships. So it's a franchise has won 2 World Series in their history. They were the wild card team to make it in both runs that got to the World Series, and
and it was between six.
the
It
gap between
was.
the titles was 6 years.
God damn, that's a. It feels like a difficult one for the one that is under the question, but for the one that wields the answer, it's like, bro, like, come on. Um, Jeez. How about the Cleveland Indians?
Nope, that was a team that they defeated in one of them.
The Atlanta Braves.
No, it actually is the Florida Marlins. It's actually the Miami Marlins.
Okay.
There was a 6-year gap between World Series as the Marlins beat the Indians, or now the Guardians, in 1997 with Levon Hernandez as the MVP. 6 years later, the Marlins beat the Yankees with Josh Beckett as the MVP. All right. And I'll go and take my wild card to World Series.
All right. This team in 2005 went to the World Series as a wildcard team in the National League by winning in 6 games against the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLCS.
And unfortunately, this team was swept in that 2005 World Series by the Chicago White Sox. This is the Houston Astros.
Yes, and in recent history, they are an American League team now. But when
Yep.
did they quit being a National League team? Was that like 2007, 2008?
No, I think it was later than that. I think the Astros moved to the AL. The Astros moved to the AL. I believe it was 2011 or 2012.
Interesting.
Yeah, they were. See, so the Astros moved to the American League in 2013. So their final season in the National League was 2012.
Interesting. Yeah, because I never knew about that, but I was just like, for a while there, I was like, wait, they used to be a National League team. Why are they? Why did they just like scurry over to the American League?
Oh, and here's the other kicker. The Brewers used to be an American League team.
The more I know.
The Brewers used to be an American League team. Yep. Okay, so Ruckus, now that we've kind of gotten through this primetime game trivia showdown, and even though I scored all 4 of mine, you still ended up with a pretty good run yourself, as you had 2.5. You got 2.5 out of 4, so there's there's steady improvement.
That's a show.
although I although I knew I left a couple softballs up there, but
And one
got
that
to
was
kind of
really
cheat it.
just like a money ball, but whatevs.
Well, that was because we both didn't realize as we were both on the same page about it. Um, but Ruckus, we're now to the stud and the dud of the week. Well, let's kind of go through our studs first.
I'll go ahead and do both. Is that okay?
Um, I think we've got better topics for our duds because I've got two duds. So
All right, I'll start with my stud. My stud is just the way the St. Louis Cardinals handled the end of the regular season with their last home game ceremony for Pujols, Adam Wainwright, and Yadier Molina. With
I
them
love this
all,
too.
dude, it reminded me of like that Field of Dreams moment where they all came out of like the cornfield and then exited through the cornfield. Like
Yep.
I was a bit emotional, but I didn't get teary eyed. But at the same time, I was just like, damn, these guys. This is the last time these guys actually like hit the field,
And
unless
they
they decide.
left together.
Yeah,
That was the other thing
it felt like the
is that they
time
pulled
in 2017 when the Royals had to do that with Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar, and Eric Hosmer too. That's what also
yeah,
hit me.
yeah, but was that because it was they were getting ready to head into free agency, or was it I think in their case it was free agency.
Right.
The, these guys, it's more retirement, and a lot of them were loyal, and all 3 of them were loyal Cardinals for a very long time.
And many a times they won championships and went to championship appearances together.
Yeah, yeah. I think they both won. I think all 3 of them won at least won 2.
I
Because I
believe
think
so.
Wainwright was a part of the '06. Because I think Wainwright was also part of that '06 roster.
And Chris Carpenter was also 1-2, right? Or no? Or just one?
I think Chris Carpenter. I can't remember if Chris Carpenter was one or both. I think what I'm really wanting to double check is that 2011 is the 2011 one.
I feel like Yadier was on
Um,
the team. and Pujols
No,
was,
no,
but
Yachty was there. Yachty was there. Yes, we knew that. Oh, actually, Chris Carpenter was on that team. It was his age 36 season. And yeah, and I remember I did say that the 2006 Cardinals, yep, had also won only 83 games that year. So I also had that information correct. Um, but my stud was actually from Monday Night Football. Of course, protester who is now suing. Anders Field has like this pink like smoke going off as he's running around. Bobby Wagner was not having it. Lays the wood to him, and then they get him out. Bobby Wagner he's like wham, hit stick, like just mild hit stick. But I'm gonna start with my duds first because the Antonio Brown one definitely was completely like really bad. The first one was I have the two Commanders offensive linemen that were blocking each other. It was not it was not a sight to see. Like it's bad enough that our offensive linemen can't block defensive linemen. But it's even worse when the offensive linemen are blocking themselves.
yeah, it's no bueno.
But the second one involves DK Metcalf. And everybody thinking that he's getting carted off the field for some sort of injury. No. This guy just had to drop a deuce.
Yeah, this was, dude. At least he didn't crap his pants like Lamar did a couple times.
Oh, he said the clinch walk wasn't going to work on Twitter, and then but then as the story unfolded, everybody's like, "Oh, DK was so lazy for taking the ride on the cart." Oh no, Met DK did not ask for the ride. He was offered it. It was more apparent that the person who was working in the facility gave DK Metcalf a ride on the cart off the field so that he could use the bathroom. It is a very ridiculous moment. I'm surprised DK Metcalf didn't even get fined for that. But it was quite out there. Because I mean, we've seen like, okay, yeah, Lamar Jackson. You're saying like some people kind of having that. There was even an instance a good amount of years back where a kicker by the name of Nick Novak peed on the sideline and missed field goals afterward.
Man, Amazon would like to hire that man.
but I think even though we've had so many out there things, your dud had to take the cake.
Oh yeah, and I even during the Sunday night game, I looked up to see how bad the footage was of him apparently flashing himself. Because in
Oh,
my opinion, when it comes to flashing, I think of someone with a robe and then just like taking off the robe and being like, "Hey, like I'm here," but in a not good way. In Antonio's sense, he was in the pool, and the pool does not really do well with towels. If anything, is clear as day, and really the only people that are there to witness you being naked are the people that are either in the pool or near the pool.
Oh, I think even in the clip it said like his trunks were like ripped off of him and something like that.
Oh yeah, and I saw a clip where he was showing his ass to a lady,
Yeah.
and so literally he was making an ass out of himself.
Oh yeah.
But
And even one of our personal favorites, and I'm not even talking Pat McAfee. I'm talking the one that's paired with Skip in Shannon Sharp was calling Antonio Brown a clown.
skip, skip.
And it was more so especially after Antonio Brown on his Instagram also this along with this completely being completely out there, put up a picture of him and Giselle Bundchen in a which no idea where it was from or when,
I think it was
but
during
it
the
was
Super
when
Bowl.
yeah, it was something like that. It was like with both of them with no Tom Brady present. I'm like come on, man. Don't like you're taking a whole bunch of things entirely too far.
That's just terrible, Ernie. That's just terrible.
Yeah, there was a lot that was too far and a little excessive involving Antonio Brown, but as far as a diva wide receiver that was definitely known for taking a lot of things excessively,
And taking a
include
whole lot of money. A whole lot of money.
and he probably has a whole lot of and some people are like, "Oh, is this really a CTE issue? Is this because of his concussion that he suffered from taking a nice little shot from Vontez Burfict?"
I think it's a whole lot of everything.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot of everything, and
The
Antonio
man wants
Brown just
attention, even though he's not. He feels like he's not getting a lot of it. Like it's pretty. I mean, didn't Tio kind of act the same way?
Tio did, but not to this degree.
I mean, he didn't sexually assault anybody, allegedly.
Didn't sexually assault anybody. Tio's most of his was either because he loved him some him and was more so kind of doing sit-ups in his driveway because he was holding out for more money in a contract. While his agent
Skip,
Drew Rosenhaus is looking saying next question, next question, next question, no
skip,
comment, next question. Yeah, oh
skip.
yeah, basically ski up in the questions. But I think Antonio Brown kind of has like his should have like his own nickname for AB that
Ass
is
backwards.
complete. That honestly is probably the best one that I could really think of. Because I mean, Skip did give Tio his best nickname out of give Terrell Owens his best nickname in there with his Tio of Team Obliterator.
That sounds about right.
Yep, exactly.
Also, speaking of nicknames, I still think it's a good thing that Dustbuster is a thing. Because the juice? Come on, man. That's just terrible.
Oh my! I like. Are they actually has have they actually kind of gone along with the Dustbuster thing yet, or are they just
They don't know shit about the Dustbuster. It's just kind of like a run-on gag between the community, and also I just think it's a better nickname than the Juice. Cause man, I wouldn't want to be associated with O.J. Simpson. No offense, O.J., but come on, man. If you write a book about how you would have murdered your wife or whoever at the time, hell, I
when
wouldn't
you
have
were
done that.
when you were cleared of it with the glove not fitting, so they had to acquit.
That's a syndrome of dumbass syndrome right there.
And sometimes that just speaks for itself. And on that note, we're gonna be like SpongeBob on the couch and head out. I'm a head out.
Actually, he isn't on the couch, but he is leaving the couch now, currently, as we see on
Yeah.
the overhead field. Um, yeah, so, anyways, this has been a production of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, episode 26. I am Ruckus.
And I'm sped as the menace.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, and also thank you for the support that we've had in the past few months. It feels crazy saying that right now out loud in my mouth. But man, it's been a fun ride, and it's still going. We're not leaving anytime soon, unless we tell you otherwise. But man, it's been hell of a lot of fun talking with you, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
Anyways, have a good night, y'all, or day, or whatever, and we'll see you later.
Deuces. Have a good one.